and welcome to Blind Luck, the search for Harry Greb's missing fight films. Yes, Harry Greb was the middleweight champion in the 1920s. He's the gentleman over my shoulder. And why is he significant in 2025? Well, his missing fight films. It will prove that he is the greatest fighter of all time. At least that is our belief. If we do it, it may change the whole history of our sport. Now, we're also looking at great fighters of today. So today's show is going to be amazing because we're going to be talking about Crawford and Canelo, one of the best matchups of the last 4 or 5 years. We're going to be talking with an amazing boxing historian. He doesn't like to be called that, neither do I, but we have been fans for many years and we know a little bit about the sport and we certainly have the passion. And today we're going to introduce you to a man who really needs no introduction in the television world here in Canada. He's a legend, frankly. Mr. Joel Goldberg, welcome to the show.
Hey, a legend. Wow. Great. um, Thanks for that. But I have to reiterate, because we were talking about it earlier, I'm like you. I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I would call myself a huge fan of boxing.
You certainly know a lot about the history of the sport, and that's how we kind of met when I was working at City TV. You were off doing your thing at Much Music and being the
And
director,
City, of course.
producer, creator. And we kind of bumped into each other and said, wow, we both have this amazing sport love and passion in common. And we've been pals ever since. And we've
That's
been
right.
talking about Harry Greb, talking about the old time fighters for a long time with yourself, as well as you've got a good buddy, Lou Eisen, who is definitely a boxing historian, and he has a new book out. I can't wait
Yeah,
to
I
get
have
him
to
on the
put a
show
plug for.
too. For
I'll put a
sure.
plug for Lou's books. It's called Boxing's Greatest Hits.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Boxing's Greatest Controversies. That's sort of a cool title too, Boxing Greatest Hits. But
Mm-hmm.
Boxing Greatest Controversies, and this is an amazing book for people who know nothing about boxing or people who are super fans of boxing. What he does is he goes through from the late 1700s to present day, and he examines the socioeconomic influences on boxing. And then there's some just insane stories. A lot of times because of those socioeconomic uh, aspects, but also just because of the uh, boxing, the steamy side of boxing, the inside of boxing, the promoters and the managers. He goes through all of that, and there's some wild stories. So I recommend it very highly. Boxing's Greatest Controversies, not Boxing's Greatest Hits.
Well, he's had quite a few hits, Lou. He's written quite a few books, and for the subject because, as you know, you have a 10-minute conversation with him, and it's just immediately goes directly
That's
to
Lou.
the history. Yeah, it's funny when I first met him. There was a test, right? Who is this kid? And he didn't know who I was either. So we were going back and forth, and it's just guys like you and I and Lou and all these other that are in this small little family of boxing historian or just uh, fans of these amazing stories. Now, I just believe Harry Greb has one of the, if not one of the greatest stories in all of sports, let alone boxing, but there are many of them. And
Right.
we're talking about not just old time fighters and how great they are, but modern day fighters too, because I totally respect all the great fighters that will certainly be first battle Hall of Famers, like the guys that we're going to talk about right now, and that's Canelo and Crawford. Big fight, probably the biggest fight in the last few years, certainly of 2025. We're going to look like either goats or geniuses now because people watching this on the web in a couple of years go, hey, that guy really knew, or he had no idea. So, what do you think about the big fight? It's an important one.
Well, these are two superior athletes, superior boxers, and they're both going to be first ballot in the Hall of Fame of boxing. It's to me, it's going to come down to mental toughness. I think for this fight, I think it's going to go the distance, and I know that Canelo is the favorite, but I'm picking Crawford, even though he's
Yes,
moving
we
up.
talked about this.
Yeah. He's moving up in 2 weight classes. So it's a big adjustment for him, huge adjustment. But he has, even though he's moving up those 2 weight classes, he's got a height and reach advantage over Canelo.
Right. The reach one is important, I think. He's got a little bit of height, yeah, and he's built up, isn't he? You see pictures
Yes.
of him, and he looks like he's doing Hurricane Carter push-ups.
Yeah. And he does have a better knockout ratio than Canelo. And Canelo's been in some big battles. What's the light heavyweight guy he lost to? Dimitri, I forgot his name. Bovell?
Bivol.
Bivol. He
Bivol.
Bivol. And that was huge. That was a grueling fight. He also, and a lot of people don't realize this, he's fought more than double the rounds that Crawford's fought in their careers. Canelo has fought 520 rounds, Crawford 245. So even though he's 3 years younger,
Wow.
yeah, isn't that something? And the reason, of course, is because the reason it's those numbers are important is because it shows that Crawford has a much better knockout ratio. That's why he hasn't gone as many rounds, because he knocks guys out.
Right. Right. Sure. Yeah. Well, he does have. Yeah. I mean, he's got a. I mean, they've said this from the beginning. He has a real mean streak. He doesn't kind of look it in his face, but he kind of looks like, oh, I wouldn't say innocent, but he doesn't look like he's really mean like some of the other boxers throughout history. But he is. He has got a mean streak. Whew.
Yeah. And I also think he's got a huge boxing IQ. Crawford's one of the smartest boxers I've seen in there. So I just think because of that, because of the wear and tear on Canelo, I think Crawford's going to pull it out by decision. That's just me.
There's a lot of people that are swaying that way as we get closer to the weigh-in and the actual fight. I see it as an almost complete 50-50. I think they're both long at the tooth at the same time. They're both almost in the same category of being a little bit past their prime. Um, I think that the one thing that we always talk about in mountain goat, you can be a goat, but to be the mountain goat, it's how many Hall of Famers you've fought and beat. And that's why we think Harry Greb's the greatest, because no one's fought and beat as many as Harry Greb. So how many has Bud Crawford fought and beat?
Right. He's
None.
fought a
None.
lot. Oh, no
Hall of
legends.
Famers.
No, but Canelo has, I think.
No Hall of Famers.
No Hall
Oh,
of, oh
Canelo
no.
has like you can name them. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of them.
Yeah.
Bivol will probably be in the Hall of Fame.
I think he
Probably.
will.
We're just guessing, but certainly Mayweather and all the greats that he did fight.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Because
saying, I agree with what all the.
Go ahead.
No, I agree with what you're saying and the analysis that you have. It's one weird fight though, because I really see both fighters have total real reasons why you can take them to win. Um, Yours are very important, and I think they're true. But I also think that, well, Canelo's fought the better fighters. He's been in with in a bigger platform. I don't think the platform of a sold out stadium is going to do anything with Crawford. That's not
No.
going to. There's no intimidating him. So that's out the. That's not a part of it at all. He's not. He's not going to be. He's going to go in there gritting his teeth. So that's what makes it interesting. What if it turns out to be a Hagler Hearns?
Oh, then
What if?
then Canelo's the puncher. He's got the stronger. He's a bigger guy. He's got the harder punches, and that's a good question, Scott. Can Crawford take Canelo's punches?
Right. I think
I
he
mean,
can, but we'll see, right?
right.
That's what makes this fight so intriguing for me because I don't. I mean, I always tried to do this like with the whole journalist thing in mind, right? Do not take a side, but pick who you think is going to based on facts. And I'm going, this one's so 50-50, which
It
is
is
great,
50-50.
right? I mean, for me, I literally don't have. I mean, when Canelo fought Triple G, oh, I wanted Triple G, like no problem. I tried to see it as straight as I could, whether he won or not, whether he lost or not. But I was going for Triple G. This one, I just want a good fight. I think they're both
Yeah.
great. I don't have anything bad to say about either of them.
I think in the end it's stamina and boxing IQ, and I give Crawford the edge in both of those things because if he stays away, if he there's a lot of movement, a lot of head movement, stays away from the punches early, I think he will win a decision.
Right.
I
Well, it's
might be
going to be
wrong.
good, and it's a pretty good undercard. Although I don't know, I haven't really looked too hard.
I
I know that there are a couple ones that are pretty good. There's the guy from Mabili, Christian Mabili from he's technically from Montreal, or
oh that's right,
I'm
yeah.
not sure what country he's from. So he's really good. He's a super middleweight. Um, and there's the Irish kid as well on the
And
undercard.
then isn't
Um,
Vargas's son fighting Fernando
oh,
Vargas?
right, yes.
So
He
I
looks
I
like
haven't.
a blue. He's a blue chip prospect. That kid.
Yeah, speaking, I want another shout out. We shouted out Lou. I want to shout
Sure.
out Donovan Boucher, my buddy, who I used to do boxing workouts with, the former Canadian and Commonwealth welterweight champion. Both of our friends, mutual friend, and he's the one who really taught me how boxing works from inside the ring. I've never boxed. I just did the workouts, but
Right.
watching him and watching the other guys in the gym, it's really, you have so much respect for these people as athletes. They're arguably the best athletes
Yeah.
in the world.
Right. It's funny. I did not know that. I knew that you knew Donovan pretty well. I had
Yeah.
no idea. The only time I've ever been in the ring with gloves was with Donovan, and
Yeah,
he toyed with me and laughed at me the whole time, and I was huffing and puffing after a minute.
that's
Uh,
right.
and what you mean, I don't know if you know this, but I brought him in for the City TV soccer team. So he was on
Oh, that's
our
great.
soccer team
He was
for
good. Yeah, he loves
5 or
soccer.
6 years.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
great
he's
guy,
fast. He
amazing athlete.
he was the fastest guy in the league. He was the most fit guy in the league. So yeah, he was great. Yeah,
And
he was
his
just
daughter
blazed
ended up.
by everybody because we're all.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, his daughter ended up
No,
with
no.
a soccer scholarship.
Yes, and his son too, Christian.
I didn't know that.
He,
Yeah.
yeah, and he's a good little player. Like he would be in around 19, 20 years old, 21. He's got a full scholarship down in somewhere in New York State.
Good for him.
So yeah, I've talked to him before too, and yeah, great athletes, you know.
Yeah, great family, and
So
they're
yeah,
just
so okay,
nice
now that
people.
we've talked, oh for sure, Donovan and I get
There's a photo. Can you
a
see
howl
this?
every
Yeah,
time we. Oh yeah. Oh
that's
there,
and it
yes.
was a tribute for George Chuvalo. There's Donovan and Tommy Doyle, Pinball
And you're with,
Clemens, Mitch Chuvalo, George's son, and it's me down there.
is that Chris Amos? Or no,
Yeah,
that's Troy. Is that Troy?
Troy. That's
Amos?
Troy. Yeah,
Okay, Troy
yeah,
Amos. Yeah, that's a classic picture.
yeah. I got it
Wow,
was a
and
fun.
he's doing a great job with. There was a picture recently online that I made a comment, and it was Chris Johnson, Donovan, and Mark Simmons,
Oh yeah,
and they all look like they're in great shape.
they are.
Like
And
Simmons looks like like he could crack. Big lad.
yeah, and Simmons and Donovan are both referees now.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, isn't that awesome to see? They're in all the fight cards. Eh? You see the lads. That's great to see that they're giving back to the sport that they love. So now that we've talked about Canelo and Crawford and our thoughts about that, because I think it is an all-time great matchup. How do you see? Where do you see guys like Canelo and guys like Bud in the overall picture of the sport of boxing? Where would they rate? Where would Bud rate in the top 10 welterweights of all time? Do you think he would?
Oh, I think so. I think he's in the top 10. I never, it's hard to rank one, two, three, four, five, but he's up there. I think, up there with Sugar Ray and Duran and Benitez. I would make him top 10. And same with Canelo. I think they both deserve uh, to be rated in the top 10. And the other thing about them is that a rare commodity, especially Canelo, they fought everybody. Everybody who was put in front of them, they fought.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. They didn't, there's no ducking.
Yeah, that's old,
You could
old
just see
school.
it in Canelo's. Yeah, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And in a lot of ways, they do fight old school. They do. They fight in combination. They fight a little bit, not in the last few years. Now, Bud would be criticized of fighting just once a year over the last few years, but that's kind of the way boxing has gone, and it's part of the discussion that we've always had about are they as prepared as the old guys? So
Yes.
let's throw out Sugar Ray Robinson, who is considered the greatest of all time and greatest welterweight, surely the greatest
Oh yeah,
welterweight of all time.
he's amazing.
How would that go with him and Canelo?
Oh, I'd
Like
say Sugar Ray
let's let's
Robinson.
let's match up those two.
Yeah, Sugar Ray. And we were talking earlier before you started rolling. Um, you put Sugar Ray Robinson in modern times with the trainers and the managers that you have now, with the nutritionists, with the technology around fitness. I think he would just been an absolute monster. So yeah, I would take Robinson
Right.
over, yeah, for sure, and Crawford. I think
Yeah.
Sugar Ray could have beaten both of them.
Right. And the discussion that we always have is like people say is like, well, how can you compare? Like how can you compare Jack Dempsey, who fought at 188, 187 pounds, against Mike Tyson? Well, my argument of that is that if Jack Dempsey was born the same date as Mike Tyson was, he wouldn't be 187 pounds and 6 foot one. He'd be
Right.
6'3" and 215 pounds
That's
because
right.
of not, and I wouldn't say nutrition, I would say fast food and all the steroids they put in our foods that make us bigger. The society has gotten so much bigger over the years, and
Yeah.
that's the caveat that I would give in a heavyweight conversation because there's no cap on the weight, right? But
Yeah.
this is my argument for boxing is there are weight classes, so you can actually have a really good discussion about a fighter from the 1930s at 130 pounds, as well as how he would do against Roberto Duran at the same weight. So it doesn't mean that you can make a definitive answer, but if you bring in the right people, people that have real um, interest and passion for the sport without the fanboy part, because that's the big thing that I see on the internet today is the fanboy. Everyone, says, "Who is this Harry Greb guy anyway?" And I'll tell you one that you'll like. My response to one of these guys, and the thing I got was Harry Greb is a myth, and so my response was, "That's what Mike Tyson would say if he ever got in the ring with Harry Greb. There's another myth. There's a
Yeah.
myth." Because he was so good defensively, Mike Tyson would never hit him. Myth. There's a
Yeah.
myth. And I
That's
got a lot of
funny.
laughs from it, right? So I want to throw up because I want to brag about Harry Greb a lot. Um, the managing editor of the Ring magazine, everyone knows Doug Fisher. I've been going back and forth with Dougie for years about Harry Greb, and he made a comment on Twitter and said, there's no films of Harry Greb, so maybe he's just an urban legend. And my response was, well, there was no film of Jesus Christ. And I just did it, just threw it out there. And Ron Katz, who's Ron Katz, a very well known um, uh, boxing, probably be in the Hall of Fame someday, as a publicist and well known guy, he said it was one of the funniest and best responses he's seen on Twitter because Doug didn't really have much of a response on that one. But it is a debate I love throwing out there because the descriptions we have of this character, Harry Greb, says that he would be competitive with even Sugar Ray Robinson, I think.
And you've told me, I never thought of this. I should have, but Greb spelled backwards is
Yeah,
Berg.
Berg. And
Yeah,
and that's the funny part of his story, because everything part of his life story is a mystery. They thought
yeah,
when he died, they thought, oh, maybe he was Jewish and changed his name because some Jewish fighters did that.
yeah.
And that's not true, but it started this whole legend. There's a book about him that I have two copies of, which I probably my greatest copies of any book. And it kind of threw out stories that were kind of bullshit about Harry that made him a legend, that were these stories really true? And some of them weren't. So the definitive book, there's one by Steve Compton out there on Harry Greb. And I think over the last 20 years, the research that's been done by guys like Steve Compton and other historians has proven that some of the stories that weren't true, and then some that were, that showcase a lot of the wins that he has, and it it doesn't widen the gap of the pound for pound story. It actually tightens it.
Right.
And our theory is that if we find the films, that maybe that would be something that would showcase the fact that he could compete with guys like Ray Robinson.
It's a fascinating story.
I find it to be this funny thing, Joel, is this whole story started when I got in my car accident in 2005. This was on a bet. I wrote that screenplay, Blind Luck, on a bet that I would win an Oscar. And if you go on Amazon, Oscar Am I a Wiener is a book that I wrote about what trying to sell the screenplay and the idea. And I did it on a bet because Ron Howard, back to back, Ron Howard was being interviewed on Jay Leno, and then Conan O'Brien had Mark Wahlberg on. And they're both talking back to back nights. And I was in a wheelchair listening to Cinderella Man. Really? You picked that one? The worst heavyweight champion of all time? You put how much money into it? And that's what I
Yeah.
was saying, because I was probably on morphine, recovering from my accident. And then the next night it was Mark Wahlberg talking about this guy named Mickey Ward. And I went, I've interviewed Mickey Ward. I know the story well. Why are you? Now, both movies were great, but I predicted they would get Oscar buzz and win. And they won 5.
Right.
They were nominated for 7, and that's why I said my screenplay could win an Oscar. My buddy goes, "What screenplay?" And I was just BSing. I said, "My story about Harry Greb," and I didn't have a story other than I knew it was way better than Cinderella Man, which was a great movie.
It
I
really
loved
was.
it. I loved The Fighter. Great movie. I loved
Featuring our
Mickey
buddy.
Ward.
Yeah. It was featuring our buddy Lou Eisen
Yeah,
again. He was in the movie. He was in Cinderella Man.
that's right. That's right. He was
He,
who
he
was
played
he?
one of
He
the
was a
corner
corner
guys.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm
He
trying.
based
Well, he was
that character
he
on
was a well-known guy,
Angelo Dundee.
right?
Yeah.
And Angelo was in the movie too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, because the for people that don't know, Lou and Angelo were extremely tight. He was
Yeah.
like a second son to the great Angelo Dundee, which is really a cool thing. And wow, the stories that Lou has, that's why he's such a well-known author in the sport of boxing.
He really is, and a
But
great
yeah,
guy.
it's an exciting. Yeah, I mean, and this is part of what we're doing with the show, and that's why we're going to have Lou on for sure. Discussions with people that really know more about it than you and I do, but still have that the passion for it. We're going to be having. I don't know if you remember the news writer at City Pulse, Mike Woods. Michael J. Woods has his own book out called The Combination, so I'm going to be interviewing him
Cool.
later on this weekend. Yeah, it's all about the mafia in the sport of boxing, and how Robert F. Kennedy was one of the guys that brought down Blinky
Right.
Palermo
That's right.
and
That's
Frankie
right.
Carbo. Joel, if your name is Frankie Carbo and Blinky Palermo, what else can you do?
You're born into it. Yeah.
Yeah, Blinky. And do you know? Okay, so here's a known fact, or little known fact. Sorry, when Blinky got out of prison, because Frankie Carbo died in prison, but when he got out of Cleveland State Penitentiary, well, you should know. You're from Cleveland,
Yes,
Cleveland
that's right.
State Penitentiary.
Right.
Who picked him up after 20 years in the can, or
Don't
whatever,
you?
10 years in the can? Don King.
Oh God, that's funny.
Don King was the only guy there to greet Blinky Palermo. What a great guy to learn from.
I figured it was either King or Don Elbaum.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Who passed away recently, right? Did you hear that?
Yeah, he was a character.
In his 90s?
Yeah.
Oh
Oh yeah.
boy, yes. I talked to him on the phone several times about Harry Greb. And yeah, character beyond character. So yeah, it is a small boxing world, and that's why we're trying to keep the conversation going um, by trying to lure in these people who love the sport and love the modern day sport, and then we can connect the two and get this screenplay going and get the films found. And guys like you are helping that, Joel, in a small way, but you love it, and I want you to really enjoy the boxing match on Saturday and can't wait to talk to you about it. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Sorry for any of the internet glitches here for people that are
Technical.
watching. Um, that I blame Elon Musk. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't.
Where are you going
So
to watch?
enjoy again. Enjoy, Joel. Okay, so I think we're gonna go to the local Shoeless Joe's because they show the boxing there. So
Right.
we're gonna probably go. I know it's on Netflix. So there's gonna be a lot of people. That's how important do you think Netflix is in this whole thing of boxing?
Huge, and it's a nice test. As to what we've been talking about, can Netflix get a wider audience for boxing? I mean, back in the day, they used to have boxing on regular television every Friday night. And
Yeah,
that's where the boxers
absolutely,
became
absolutely.
celebrities. Yeah,
For sure. Yeah, they became TV stars because it was, from the 1950s on, and if you had a TV and the people that did were watching boxing, Tuesday night fights, Thursday night fights.
yeah,
So nice to see Netflix back in or getting into the game since they kind of put their toe in a little bit with, I guess was it Tyson and Jake Paul. So
right.
that fake fight. Now
Yeah,
we have a real one. Now we
yes.
have a real one. So listen, I'm not gonna keep you any longer. I know you. Do you want to give any shout outs to what you're doing right now? Things, projects that you're working on?
Well, there's a new season of your all-time classic hit parade, which I produce and direct over at Zoomer Media with Marilyn Lightstone. That premieres September 19th at 8:30 on Vision TV. I have a documentary on James B., the eccentric promoter and musician. That will be on Hollywood Suite. We're delivering that in the fall, and we've been given development money for a film about the history of True North Records. So I'm in development for
Nice.
that. So yeah, it's busy.
That's fantastic. And you're still working with Moses Neimer.
Still working. Moses is still engaged, and he's still my all-time mentor. So
Unbelievable. I always give a shout out to Moses Neimer. He's the one that helped me sell my soccer series. He's done unbelievable things for me personally, despite not knowing who I am. He did wonders for getting that show out for me. So I've always been indebted, and I've always been personally crushed as a viewer to see what happened to the great and incredible um, uh, historic in a lot of ways things he did to broadcasting, not just in Canada, for Canada, but for the world. And it got crushed as soon as Rogers
yeah,
took it over. And I don't care who says any different. He is a genius.
yeah,
And I can only wish him and Zoomer, I'm glad he got a really nice niche in there. And I don't know Maryland very well, but I work with Goche Erkin who is very tight with Marilyn, and
Yeah.
she's a wonderful person, and it's great that you're able to work with her.
Love her.
Yeah, yeah, fantastic. Okay, gonna let you go.
Thanks.
Keep your fists up, keep your chin down, and we'll see you next time. Talk
Yeah.
to you soon, Joel. Appreciate it. Talk soon. All right, that was an awesome conversation with an iconic producer and director here in Canada, Joel Goldberg. Boy, oh boy, Electric Circus, remember that? Oh boy, I danced every Friday and Saturday night when I worked at City TV while that was on. He is a genius when it comes to entertainment in Canada, and he certainly knows his boxing too. So, like and subscribe if you want to come along with us on this amazing treasure hunt to find the missing films of Harry Greb, the greatest boxer of all time. And enjoy Canelo versus Crawford and all the great fights and fighters of today. That is this edition of Blind Luck, and we'll see you next time. That is it. Woohoo!